Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is Kosaku Moteki from Jamstec in Japan. Today, I want to talk about two players in the tropics. One is the MJO. We all know it well. The other is CENS, cold northerly winds that cross the equator near Indonesia. My main message is simple. These two do not just meet, they change each other. And how they change each other depends on the MJO phase. This work was published in Scientific Reports last year. Let me show you what 84 years of data can tell us.
Here is my plan for the next 15 minutes. First, some background. What is CENS and what was still unknown? Second, the data and the key idea of my analysis design. Third, the results. Precipitation, sea surface temperature, and the three-dimensional circulation. And finally, one simple picture that puts everything together. Let's start. So, what is CENS? In winter, the East Asian monsoon sends bursts of cold northerly winds southward. Sometimes these winds cross the equator, through the Karamata Strait, into the Java Sea. This is CENS, the cross-equatorial northerly surge. The black box is my detection area. The rule is simple. When the mean surface wind here is northerly at 5 meters per second or more, that is a CENS day. 3 facts. CENS happens from October to April. A typical event lasts 3 days. And with an active MJO, rainfall near Jakarta can increase by 200 to 400%. So this is not a small effect. It matters for millions of people. What did we already know about CENS and the MJO? 3 things. First, the MJO controls CENS. In my previous paper, I found that about 87% of CENS days happen in MJO phases 4 to 7. So the MJO clearly sets the stage. Second, and this is the exciting part, CENS also acts back on the MJO. Lubis and colleagues showed that CENS pushes the MJO to take a southward detour around the maritime continent. Third, when they occur together, the rainfall impact is very strong. So the interaction goes both ways. It is a two-way conversation, not a one-way street. But one important piece was missing. Nobody had documented the full three-dimensional structure of this interaction and how it changes with MJO phase. That is what I did here. I used 84 years of ERA5 data from 1940 to 2023. This gives me 715 CENS days. That is a much larger sample than any previous study. And I ask 3 simple questions. 1. How does precipitation differ between phases 4-5 and 6-7? 2. Do the SST anomalies show phase-dependent patterns? 3. How does the vertical circulation change when CENS occurs? Let me show you how I answer them. The data are standard. ERA5, GPCP, and the OLR-based MJO index. One detail matters. The MJO index uses only OLR, no wind data. So it is independent from the CENS circulation. No circular argument. Now the key design choice. I compare CENS days with non-CENS days inside the same MJO phase. The MJO background is the same for both groups, so the difference shows the CENS signal only. Also, I use total fields, no bandpass filter. CENS is short, 3 days, and a filter would distort it. The phase grouping already works as a filter. January, February only. Significance at 95%. Here is the first result, where CENS lives in MJO phase space. Look at the left panel, the active MJO cases. The distribution is strongly peaked. Phases 4, 5, 6, 7, this is where CENS happens. 79% of all CENS days. Phases 4-5, that is when MJO convection sits over the maritime continent. Phases 6-7, convection has moved to the Western Pacific. And one more point, this pattern is robust. It holds in El Nino years, La Nina years, and neutral years. The chi-square test is highly significant. So today, I focus on these 2 phase pairs, 4-5 and 6-7, and I compare them. Now, precipitation. First, phases 4 and 5. The left panel shows the mean rain for all days in these phases.
You see the MJO convection over the maritime continent, as expected. The right panel is the key. CENS days minus non-CENS days. The dots show statistical significance. Look at Java and Northern Australia. Strong positive anomalies. More rain when CENS is present. The pattern is local. It sits right where the northerly winds converge, south of the equator. My interpretation? In these phases, CENS works as a local amplifier. It strengthens the MJO convection that is already there. Now the same figure, but for phases 6 and 7, and the picture changes. By now, the main MJO convection has moved east to the western Pacific. Look at the difference panel on the right. The positive anomalies are not local anymore. They spread over a wide area, along the western flank of the MJO envelope, behind the main convection. And here is a detail I find fascinating. See this narrow band northeast of the Philippines? A significant rainfall signal, far from the CENS region itself. So in phases 6-7, CENS is not just a local amplifier. It modulates convection on a much larger, regional scale. Next, the surface ocean and pressure fields. Again, phases 4-5 first. In the difference panel, two features stand out. First, the blue area, a cold tongue in the South China Sea. This is easy to understand. Strong, cold northerlies cool the ocean surface by evaporation and mixing. Second, look at the pressure contours. Higher pressure in the northern hemisphere, lower pressure in the south. This means a stronger pressure gradient across the equator, exactly the condition that drives the surge itself. So in phases 4-5, the SST signal is mainly a cooling response. The atmosphere forces the ocean.
Now, phases 6-7. For me, this is the most interesting slide. The cold tongue is still there, but look at the western Pacific. Warm SST anomalies, significant, broad, and stronger than before. This warm signal appears only in phases 6-7. Why? Two possible readings, and both can be true. One, CENS pushes the MJO on a southward detour. Fewer clouds over the western Pacific. More sunlight, the ocean warms. Two, the causality is reversed. A warm western Pacific favors both a strong MJO and CENS. Either way, the ocean is part of this story. It is not a passive boundary. Of course, you may ask, is this warm signal just ENSO or just strong MJO events? So I did a strict test. I kept only ENSO neutral years, and I limited the MJO amplitude to a narrow band between 1.0 and 1.5. Here is the result. The warm anomaly in the western Pacific, it is still there. So the signal is not an artifact of El Nino, La Nina, or MJO strength. It is a robust feature of the CENS MJO relationship itself. Now, the vertical structure, the new part of this study. These are north-south sections along the CENS longitudes. Top, phases 4-5. Bottom, 6-7. Left, all days. Right, the CENS difference. In both cases, the story is consistent. With CENS, the low-level northerlies strengthen. They converge south of the equator, and the ascent becomes deeper. You see the strong orange signal near 10 to 5 south. But compare top and bottom. In phases 6-7, the enhanced ascent is wider, and it reaches into the northern hemisphere. The whole circulation cell responds, surface to upper troposphere. And here is the east-west view along the MJO propagation track between 10 and 5 south. Same layout, phases 4-5 on top, 6-7 below. In phases 4-5, the enhanced ascent sits between about 85 and 120 east, right over the maritime continent. In phases 6-7, the ascent moves east and becomes deeper. This matches the position of the MJO convection downstream. So the vertical circulation tells the same story as the rainfall. The CENS influence follows the MJO, and it grows in scale as the MJO moves into the western Pacific. Let me put everything into one picture. This is the core message. MJO over the maritime continent, phases 4-5. CENS is a local amplifier. More rain near Java. A cold South China Sea. Deeper ascent locally. MJO over the western Pacific,
Phases 6-7, the role changes. CENS becomes a regional co-modulator. Rain spreads along the western flank. Warm SST anomalies in the western Pacific. Broader, deeper ascent. So the role of CENS is not fixed. It goes through a phase transition, together with the MJO. I think this is a beautiful example of scale interaction in the tropics.
To summarize, 4 takeaways. 1. 79% of CENS days occur in MJO phases 4 to 7. This is robust across ENSO states. 2. The precipitation response shifts from local amplification near Java to broad enhancement along the western flank. 3. Warm SST anomalies in the western Pacific appear only in phases 6-7. This is consistent with the southward detoured MJO found by Lubis and colleagues. 4. CENS systematically deepens the southern hemisphere ascent, most strongly downstream in phases 6-7. One-sentence version: CENS and the MJO evolve together, and the ocean is part of the loop.
Where do we go from here? The honest limitation? This is a diagnostic study. Composites show covariation, not causality. So the next step is coupled model experiments to test the SST-mediated pathway directly. I also plan lagged composites of the cold air outbreaks to fix the time order of the air-sea interaction, and case studies with ship and satellite observations. Finally, with 84 years of data, we can ask if this relationship changes on decadal timescales. Thank you very much. I am happy to take questions, and I would love to discuss the coupled model part with anyone working on MJO simulation.